Okay, hi, Lisa, Survival Mom here, back with another bee video. I have been wanting to record for you a running total of the expenses that we have put out so far for our bees. You can see them right back there. And I was waiting for cooler weather because I think in a couple of my other bee videos, it gets really hot under here, especially if I've been out with my husband working on the hives for whatever reason. Now, yesterday we had a lot of excitement out there, and I'm sitting here. I'm not really concerned that the bees are going to get me. I'm far enough away. But yesterday, no, 2 days ago, we had a lot of excitement. I'm out here almost every single day, and I noticed really unusual behavior with the pink hive behind me. Okay, that's the one closest to the tree that you see right there. And instead of seeing the bees, usually they'll come in, they come in like kamikaze bombers. You know, they're just zipping in and out constantly throughout the day. And instead of seeing that behavior, what I saw was a few hundred bees buzzing around randomly around the pink hive boxes in particular. And then I saw our bees in the entrance as though they were trying to guard the entrance into the hive. Right now in this we are experiencing what's called I forget what the word is, a dearth. I was going to say a drought. It's been really dry here too, but a dearth, and that just means that pretty much everywhere pollen has dried up. Now, in our particular area, our bees are still bringing in some pollen. We did an inspection this past Tuesday, so that's about 4 days ago, and we saw that there was still pollen and the bees are pretty busy. But we are also noticing that the drones are dying off and things are slowing down in the hive. But when you open up a hive, like we did for our inspection, the scent of honey can draw bees in from miles around. They can smell that honey. And if there is a dearth going on and their hive does not have much honey, they will find other hives to rob from. And they will actually fight, the robbers will fight the hive bees. They'll kill each other. And it's possible that in a really bad robbery situation, they will just uncap all the honey and they will steal all the honey, and you'll be left with a mostly devastated hive that probably won't make it through the winter. So both of our hives have plenty of honey, and they'll make it through the winter just fine. One of the hives, I think it's the pink one. If you see that top box, that's called a super. It has the most beautiful dark reddish honey, probably from the goldenrod that has been blooming around. Now, this is a bottle of our honey, and you can see that our honey is pretty dark. I've seen honey from other beekeepers a real pale, all the way down to a very pale yellow. But the honey that we were seeing in the super a few days ago is even darker and redder than this. If you remember from my other bee videos, we've gotten about 21 pounds of honey this last season. So that is from the pink hive, which we started this last, that hive has been around since April of 21. And then the blue hive that you see over there, that we did a split in May. So that is the younger hive. They're also more vigorous. So it was interesting, of the two hives that we have, the pink one has been a little less productive. They were the ones that that robbery attempt was made on. So, anywho, I went through all of our expenses. I don't know if my husband realizes how much we've spent. All for about a total of 28 pounds of honey. We're not selling our honey. Maybe, I don't know, maybe someday. It's almost more trouble than it's worth to try to sell it for us. So, I have a full-length bee suit, just made out of heavy-duty cotton material. I got it at Tractor Supply, and I paid less than $40 for it. Okay, so mark that. $40 for a cheap bee suit. It suits me just fine. I bought it extra large. It fits everybody in the family, up to my son, who's 6'2". So I'm glad I got the extra large size, but it was about $40. Then we got two jackets. I'm wearing the more expensive one. My husband is wearing the cheaper one. Between the two, it's about $190. So the more expensive one that I have on, it's very ventilated. You might be able to tell the fabric is very ventilated. It's cooler, but it was also more expensive. So we do not have the expensive full bee suits. I don't know if we ever will. My husband just wears a jacket and his jeans. The only time I've ever been stung, I was wearing my jacket, this jacket here, and jeans, and my jeans just fit tighter than my husband's. My husband just wears very baggy pants, and sure enough, the little bee got the back of my thigh, and it went right through the fabric. But my husband's jeans are so baggy that that even if they tried to sting, it wouldn't go through. Probably wouldn't. They'd have a tough time getting through the fabric, and then they're baggy, so they would never get to his skin. Now, we also paid for 2 bee nucs. Nuc is short for nucleus, right? And that is like the starter kit for your hive. And we paid about $550 for 2 of those. The first one died off. Our first attempt at beekeeping about 3 years ago, our first nuc died off through the winter. We just were very inexperienced, and we didn't really have someone that we could continually ask questions of. We didn't know about Texas Bee Supply. I don't even know if they were in our area at the time. They do a fantastic job of just answering questions and helping you on the phone. We run out to their store pretty often, and so this year we have been far more successful, and that's because we have had, what I would call mentors helping us. But that was a big expenditure, $550. You can, whenever you might catch a swarm, or maybe there's someone that has bees and they might just give you a free split. But generally you're going to pay money for a bee nuc. We bought a smoker. I don't have it with me. I meant to grab it. The little smoker, we just kind of give little puffs of smoke, whenever we're going to be inspecting the hive. It just kind of confuses the bees. They don't know what's going on, and they pretty much leave you alone. They don't like it, but they will leave you alone. Miscellaneous tools. This one here, we didn't have this one for a while. This is actually one of the most useful tools that we have. You can use it as like a pry bar, and when those bees start building propolis between the boxes and between the frames, things get really stuck hard, almost like cement. And so you need a good little pry tool like this, and it's designed specifically to help lift the frames out of the box. This is about a $12, $13 purchase. You'll probably only need one, maybe one per person if a couple of you are going to be working on the hives. So miscellaneous tools like that, we'll never have to buy that again. And like these honey jars, as long as we reuse these, that will be a one-time purchase unless we ever decide to sell. I also brought this out. I'm surprised the bees haven't smelled this. This is our feeder, big jar. It holds about 4 cups of sugar water, and then it has this base. We just slide the base into the bottom into the entrance. And the bees do love their sugar water, but we're not feeding them right now for a couple of different reasons. They have plenty of honey to get through the winter. They don't need more sugar water to continue, building comb and honey. So they're doing good. And also those feeders can attract marauders, those robbers I told you about earlier. So just miscellaneous little things. I put $50 down for that. The honey bottles expenditures, we bought some of these. We bought the little squeeze bottles that look like bears, little honey bears. And then we bought a set of like 4-ounce canning jars. We put the extra honey in those. We spent probably about $60 on all of that. Boxes and frames. This is another major expenditure. So the boxes you see behind me, they're different sizes for different purposes. And then the frames that fit inside each box. So we have, we probably put in a little over $300 on those. You can build them, but when you see how they're structured, they really take some skill to put those together. So we just prefer just buying them. They do last. We did have one box. For some reason, Texas Bee Supply replaced it. It only lasted just a few months, and it started warping and separating on the corners, but they should last you a while, let's just say. 2 pairs of gloves. I'm not wearing them today, but 2 pairs of gloves, they were about $30 each. Books, I've spent probably $50-$60 on books. The one book that was recommended to me was called the Bee Bible, I think it's called, and it was okay, but it wasn't like a hands-on bee book, right? So, gosh, we're having we think our hive is being robbed. What do we do? A lot of stuff just wasn't really addressed in a super practical way in the Bee Bible. So then I went on to get another bee book. Same thing. It was a great history about the bees, very interesting info about honey. A lot of them will have recipes in there, but usually when I need like a kind of a how-to book, it's because I want to know how to take care of a problem or something. So we finally bought the Dummies Guide. I think it's called the Dummies Guide to beekeeping. So in all those 3 books, probably 50, 60 bucks. And then our mite supplies. I've mentioned testing for mites. The mite treatment that actually kills off the mites, we use Apivar, and it's $50 a package. We have some Apivar that we'll be using next season, I guess midsummer next year, and then we'll probably have to buy some more. It's about $50 per package with several strips in them. We put one, I think 2 or 3 strips per box, or per hive. And then we have a little tester thing for mites. So all in all, I added it up, rounded it off. This doesn't include tax. It doesn't include shipping for a few things I bought on Amazon. We're looking at just under $1,500. Do you have to spend that much money? I don't think so. You're going to need some bees. Where can you get your bees? Likely you're going to have to buy a nuke, right? If you ever have a queen that dies off, or somehow you end up and you might need a new queen, then that's going to be another 25, 35, 40 bucks or so. We have not had to buy a new queen yet. So the tools, if you have like a nice pry bar, I suppose you could try with that. The gloves are really useful, although a lot of beekeepers are now wearing a couple nitrile, like 2 nitrile gloves, and it seems that does a good job for the most part, as far as the bees being able to sting your hands while you work. So we didn't go hog wild, as my dad would say, into spending as much money as we possibly could. But every once in a while we would come across a tool or some kind of supply, and we thought, that actually would come in handy. So it's like any other hobby. You get in and you think, I think I'm going to grow a few herbs, and then before you know it, you're buying all kinds of fancy herbs, and then the seeds, and then the supplies, and grow lights. And then, yes, with anything you can overdo it. So that's our experience, that's our expense. And right now I probably won't be doing any more beekeeping videos. Maybe in the winter, we'll probably do winter inspection, maybe once a month. But we're fully expecting our bees to do just fine until the spring. And then we start this, fun and games all over again. So thanks for watching. And we do love our bees. I hope you love your bees too, wherever you see them.